It's Tuesday. It's Twin Flame Tuesday. We're going to get you Twin Flame. We're going to talk about some crazy shit today, you guys. Oh, you're not even going to believe this one. Holy shit. This is going to be one for the ages. One for the ages, my friends. Oh my God. This lady right here, it's just going to be such an enlightening episode. Why is she calling herself a twin flame? We're going to get to the bottom of things here. What's up with this chick? What is she doing? Oh my God. I'm telling you, you guys, you cannot make this shit up. You cannot make this shit up, you guys. It's Tuesday. We got some interesting things to talk about. And I'm going to be available for your questions, too, as always. We'll do a live Q&A alongside. And it'll be very revealing. The secrets of Twin Flame. All right. Are you ready for this one? You're not even going to believe this one, you guys. This is just, oh my God.
It's a place called Paradise Valley, and people who live in it say it was a paradise.
Jesus has told me.
Until this woman and her followers arrive.
Cosmic law is cosmic law, and when the karma has to teach people a lesson, then it has to descend.
I believe that there are peak dates when nuclear war could happen anytime in this 12-year period that began on April 23rd.
It's a Montana-based spiritual group of some 3,000 people that has aroused the anger of its neighbors and the concern of half a dozen federal agencies. Who is Elizabeth Prophet, and what does her Church Universal and Triumphant stand for? We'll talk with her tonight.
This is ABC News Nightline. Reporting from Washington, Ted Koppel.
This, quite frankly, is one of those stories you save for a slow day when not very much else is happening. And even then, you wonder whether it merits the attention. Not that the Church Universal and Triumphant isn't interesting. It is gloriously bizarre and fascinating, but it is also exceedingly strange. As one Montana neighbor put it, I'm surrounded by people whose dipsticks haven't seen oil in a long time. That observation, even less obliquely put, has been made in particular about the church's current leader, Elizabeth Clare Prophet. The organization itself sometimes seems less a church than a cult, but it has several thousand members, and as Nightline correspondent Farrah Sawyer reports, their convictions, and their activities are a little difficult to ignore.
Paradise Valley, Montana. God's country, they call it here. Not the kind of place you'd expect to find a New Age range war.
Jesus has told me that the kingdom of God is the consciousness of God.
And this is not the kind of person you'd expect to be leading the battle. Elizabeth Clare Prophet, head of the Church Universal and Triumphant, whose teachings are a grab-bag mix of Western and Eastern philosophy. She believes she is the reincarnated spirit of Queen Guinevere and Marie Antoinette. To her church members, she is the mother of the universe, the very messenger of God.
A messenger is one who does bring the message of the angels, of the ascended masters, and of God to a people who have forgotten their source.
The ascended masters, spirits like Jesus, Buddha, Merlin the magician, and someone called Rayolite, bring Prophet visions of destruction. The Soviet Union, she believes, is planning a first nuclear strike. The four horsemen of the apocalypse are riding across the land.
And as you know, these four horsemen bring problems in the economy. They bring war, they bring death, they bring famine, they bring plague.
Lord Michael, and legions of Zeus, come see me now, be faithful and true.
An estimated 3,000 church
What the
members gave up
fuck?
their old lives to follow prophets' visions to Paradise Valley, chanting for protection and preparing for nuclear holocaust, dotting the landscape with scores of fortified bomb shelters, room for every man, woman, and child in the church.
These things close and go in against the two openings in there, and there's no way of opening it up from outside.
Fred Morcell gave up a full-time acting career to come here and build this underground shelter for himself and 6 others. When the messenger of God announced this past March and April were the most dangerous times, Morcell prayed and waited.
We were ready to go down any minute. Any minute.
Disaster was averted, members believe, in part because they prayed it away.
Oh, whatever.
But church members also take other security measures. Ed Francis, Prophet's 4th husband and the church's business manager, together with her former bodyguard, were recently convicted of illegally buying $100,000 worth of assault weapons and ammunition. To be
Holy
used, Francis
shit!
said, after a nuclear war, against looters, or when the Soviets invade.
Let me get it straight. Ed Francis, holed up in a bunker up in the mountains, says he's going to fight the Russians?
Well, you know, who knows what kind of a scenario would unfold.
Local residents have grown increasingly alarmed.
Oh my God.
When church members
You cannot
built a
make
defense
this
tower
shit up.
overlooking Pete Story's ranch, he called it a declaration
look at that.
of war.
Apparently they think that there will be a nuclear war, and afterwards there will be pathetic, starving, radiation-sickened
A guard
mobs
tower
trying
to shoot people from.
get shelter or raid their bomb shelter or something.
And you're the mob.
And we're the mob.
I don't believe in pacifism. And I believe that if you are attacked in your home and somebody's going to rape your wife and kill you and your children, that you better defend yourself or you're going to have the karma for allowing all those lives to be taken.
It's karma.
Many residents claim the church's frenetic rush to prepare for the end of civilization is also hurting the environment. The main bomb shelter, with room for 750 people and an entranceway big enough for an 18-wheel tractor trailer, is being built in what was once prime habitat for grizzly bears, elk, and pronghorn antelope. When 3 of the shelter's fuel storage tanks burst last month, spilling out 32,000 gallons of diesel oil and gasoline, residents complained bitterly.
Unfortunately, Montana has some very lax zoning and land use laws. You could build a Tower of Babel up there and it would be all right with the state.
One of the reasons the argument over the future of this valley is so bitter is because it lies right next to Yellowstone National Park. Any development here could have a direct impact on one of America's most precious wilderness areas.
The fallout shelters are completely self-contained and are designed to have a minimum footprint on the land once they are completed.
Privately, park officials say they too are frightened by the rapid growth and call it the single greatest risk to Yellowstone. They say the most extraordinary hot springs in the world could be harmed if the church follows through on plans to tap its own springs.
Because it's an intricate plumbing system down there. And all over the world, they've shown that if you mess around with that plumbing system, then you're going to turn these geysers on.
The church denies all the allegations, saying they are the result of media bias or plots to force them off their land or religious persecution.
If we were Jewish, this would be called anti-Semitism.
Oh,
If we were Catholic,
whatever.
it would be anti-Catholic mentality. You know, you could put it in any framework that you want.
But they have barred the press from the spill site and from seeing the bomb shelter, saying the Soviets could use the information against them. And they've been slow to tell the community their plans. Residents who turned out to demonstrate their anger say it is that secrecy that scares them the most.
Hey, you guys come down to Livingston, we let you look in our store windows, we let you do anything you want. Why do you hide from us? We let all you hide.
We don't have the obligation to tell the entire world what we're doing exactly and explain to them every move that we make.
For now, Paradise Valley's range war is at a standoff. Both sides angry, both sides worried what the next move will be. church members say, like it or not, they are staying. They intend to build a new world they say will be here long after this one is destroyed. This is Forrest Sawyer for Nightline in Paradise Valley, Montana.
Give me a break.
And joining.
Give me a break. All right, so Elizabeth Clare Prophet, she wrote this book. And sometimes you'll see people on social media going, oh, yeah, you bet. She figured it all out. She was the first one. Well, she wasn't the first one. She did not invent the term twin flame either. Although the most important thing that you need to understand here is that she was not a twin flame. We're going to talk about that on today's podcast, on today's episode. This is where a lot of the twin flame mythology came from, you guys. This little book right here. You can read it if you want to read a bunch of unmitigated baloney. If you want bad information, knock yourself out. Yeah. And then her daughter, by the way, defected. Her daughter defected. I actually had a brief email exchange with her because I was looking for information about her mom, Elizabeth Clare Prophet. And yeah, Erin Prophet is the daughter's name. She wrote this little bit right here that appeared in the LA Times. I spent my childhood preparing for calamity. No wonder the coronavirus crisis feels familiar. And so that's, her, I believe, and her siblings or other members in one of the bomb shelters. And Erin Prophet is a college professor. She specializes in studying cults and the psychology of cults and why they do the things that they do, why people join cults. I mean, you just saw the clip. There was 3,000 people there, like chanting mindlessly in the audience. And Elizabeth Clare Prophet claims to be channeling Jesus and all these other things. And none of the things that she said came true. She gave a specific date. It was like May or June of 1990 when there was supposed to be all-out nuclear war. Of course, it didn't happen. And supposedly Jesus and Rayolite or whoever told her that. And it was very clear the way that she ran the place, Elizabeth, that I'm the leader. You got to do what I say. I call the shots, and you need me. You need me to have a connection to God, to be able to talk to God. You got to go through me, and you got to do what I say. Guys, if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck and walks like a duck, it's probably a duck. And anyway, you know what Jesus said? He said, yeah, I and the Father are one, but then he also said, these things and more shall you also do. And that's what a real spiritual teacher is going to tell you. Like Eckhart Tolle or Rupert Spira or me. I'm going to tell you, you don't need me. My job is done as soon as you remember the true essence of self within you. Our job is to set you guys free. I don't want you to be dependent upon me. And maybe that's a bad business plan because then I can't keep charging you money month over month. I mean, you can stay on my coaching calls if you want to, but when people leave, I love it. I think that's great. Yeah, you're a master, guys. You don't need anybody. And that's what she was all about, Elizabeth Clare Prophet. And she said she was a twin flame. She did not have a spontaneous spiritual awakening, which you guys see me talking about this and referencing this scientific paper from Frontiers in Psychology all the time. If you're watching right now, like a replay or a clip video, there's a link in the description, English or Spanish, for you to go check this out. But this is a very well understood phenomenon, and it's extraordinary, guys. But to have now the scientific and psychological community studying this phenomenon, a spontaneous spiritual awakening, and writing peer-reviewed research about it is awesome, because we can point to that and go, no, this is real, and you don't get to decide what it is. You don't get to decide what a spiritual awakening looks like. It is what it is. You don't get to decide which direction the sun rises. We observe it. We're describing the thing that already exists, right? And yeah, Elizabeth Clare Prophet did not have any of those experiences at all. She just met some man that she fell in love with, her deceased husband, Mark Prophet, and said, "Oh, we're twin flames, you bet." And he was already kind of into some of this stuff. This book here is where the term twin flame came from. Right here, actually. It was written in the 1880s or the 1890s, and it's not about twin flames at all. There's like romance in here, right? Yeah, and I don't know, somebody must have read this and said, that sounds like my story. I'm going to call this person my twin flame. I don't know. Also, Godfrey Ray King, he wrote some things about something called twin rays, which that's not a thing. But in some of his writings, he would use, this is interesting, he would use the words separation and union, but he used them in the correct spiritual context. He never ever said that union is a relationship status or separation either. And there's no such thing as, let me put it this way. You call this experience of meeting this person whatever you want. You could call it a ham sandwich. Somebody decided to call it twin flames, right? And so one of the mythologies that you hear online is, oh, well, there's different types of these things, right? You got twin rays over here, and then you got this other phenomenon called twin flames. Well, no, you don't. You've got reincarnation. And your twin flame and you are one soul. Somebody just decided we're going to call it twin flame. You could call it a ham sandwich, though. You call it whatever you want. I like to call it simultaneous incarnations, right? This we do know exists. We know that there is reincarnation. And there's certainly a lot of evidence for that. There's a ridiculous amount of evidence for that. It's preposterous to me to say that there's no evidence for it, but that's how you guys are the same soul, you and this person that you call twin flame. And so it's at this point in the conversation, somebody could say, well, then what's a twin ray? It's not a thing. There's no twin rays. And aside from playing a game of semantics, there's you and there's everybody else. You and your twin flame are the same soul. You are a soul. So you are you. Your twin flame is you, the same soul. You're the same soul, not the same body, but the same soul. And you are you. Your soul is your soul, right? So your twin flame is you. Everybody else is just everybody else. All other souls are just other souls. So that there's these different types of partners and things, karmic, soulmate is subjective, and it's fine to use those labels. But really, there's you and there's everybody else. So all the other types of things that you hear about, karmic, twin ray, soulmate, kindred spirit, that's all just made up. But it's describing an experience that you could be having. So it's not bad to use those labels either. So I'm not saying that it's an error. You just need to be clear about how this really works. There's you and then there's everybody else. So like a soulmate could just be somebody who you two have reincarnated over 10 lifetimes together. But at some point you met for the first time 10 lifetimes ago, and you guys hung out and you liked each other. And so you keep doing that over and over and over again. But it's interesting because in these books, Godfrey Ray King, he uses the words union and separation in the correct spiritual context, which is that separation is how the mind views everything, and union or unity, that is that oneness of self, the soul, or the I am consciousness. Ram Dass, he would describe it in using those words, separation and unity or union. Union is the consciousness, union is the soul, it's the oneness where you're not separate from everything. Mind is separate from everything. Eckhart Tolle, same thing. He uses those words a lot in the proper spiritual context. Rupert Spira, he, and a lot of spiritual teachers do this, he just does it a lot. Rupert Spira, he flat out calls the ego, the mind, the separate self, because it believes it's separate from everything, right? I just actually, who was it? I was watching Tom Kieran, Kearin, Tom Kieran. And he's got 2 YouTube channels, one with his name and one called Be Something Wonderful. And all he talks about is law of attraction. And you guys, the proper use of the words separation or unity is well understood in the general spiritual community. The only niche within the general spiritual community who is confused about the proper use of those words is Twin Flames. But he was talking about law of attraction using the word separation. And he said that a few times in the video I watched yesterday. And he goes, you are the universe. You're not separate from anything. There's no separation. He said it like that. So spiritual people, they do that all the time. They know about this. It is only Twin Flames who are confused about the true meaning of those words in the spiritual context. And again, Godfrey Ray King, he was doing it in the proper context. And you're not going to get anything out of reading these books, by the way. You might find them interesting if you're curious to learn about like the history of Twin Flames, the origins of Twin Flames. I actually have a playlist on my YouTube channel if you want to go check it out. It's on my English speaking channel only, though. I don't have it in Spanish yet, but just scroll down and you'll find it here. It's called The Origins of Twin Flames. And I kind of go into further detail about this stuff. I mean, you kind of get the gist based on everything I'm saying. But this video here, that's 11111, is where I talk about that. I talk about like, okay, somebody figured it out. Somebody who was a twin flame had to have figured it out, like in the 1950s or something like that, right? Or the 1960s. Somebody figured it out. I don't know who it was. It wasn't these guys. It wasn't Godfrey Ray King or Mark Prophet at all. They weren't even twin flames. Mark Prophet, Elizabeth Clare Prophet, they did not have a spontaneous spiritual awakening. That did not occur. They were not twin flames. They were not the same soul. They were not ham sandwiches. Okay? Whatever you want to call it, but basically somehow those words, union and separation, made their way into the twin flame niche to the point where now they are used so commonly by people in the twin flame niche. Union, separation. It's just they think it's a relationship status. Well, I asked that question like 8 years ago. First, when I saw people throwing those terms around, I was like, why are they doing that? Like, what is union? I don't believe that's a relationship status, because who does that? Seriously, think about it. Who does that? Who says, I'm in union with my boyfriend, or I'm in separation with my girlfriend? Who does that? Nobody does that. You just say we're dating or she dumped me, right? Only twin flames are doing that. By the way, Tom Kieran, Kearin, He will not help you with your twin flame. He will help you manifest a whole bunch of money, though. He's awesome. He's one of my favorites. Him and Neville Goddard are my favorites. I also like Abraham Hicks a lot. But so I've been it's been my quest, guys. I've gotten this far. I found where the term twin flame came from. I found this guy, Godfrey Ray King, who didn't really talk about twin flames. He mentioned, again, in his books, twin rays, but he didn't really explain how that worked. He didn't go into depth in either of his books. In these two books here, he didn't, right? He just mentions them in passing in his two books. So I don't know. I don't know who it was. Somebody figured it out, guys, because here's the thing. Again, when you understand the master's teachings, which again, it's these words, guys: Ram Dass, Eckhart Tolle, Alan Watts, Rupert Spira, right? The true great spiritual masters, they use those words all the time. Paramahansa Yogananda, right? They're always talking about the mind is separation, the soul or the true self beyond body and mind is union or oneness. And so that's what I think happened. Somebody who was on having a twin flame experience, they said, wait, I just have to use the master's teachings, and it worked. It fucking worked, right? Going beyond the separation of mind. And I think this had to be like in the 1950s or something, or the 60s, right? And then later in the 1990s, the internet gets a hold of the teachings and does what the internet does best. Plays a game of telephone, mixes it all up. Now, nobody remembers what the original teachings are. And now all you're going to get on the internet for twin flames is all the healing stuff. Also, union and separation are relationship statuses. That's all you're going to get. And then there's me. And there's like a couple of my former students that are out there coaching twin flames too. But these are the master's teachings. I figured it out because I saw people. Actually, my first big breakthrough was when like law of attraction manifesting techniques don't work on your twin flame. And I realized why that is. But I'll save that for another time, that story. That was my first big code breaker. But you could still, like 8 years ago when I was having my runner chaser shit going on with my person, you could still find some halfway decent information on the internet about twin flames. And it was always going to be like some of those older, like 1990s kind of like internet 1.0, right? Older websites. Remember those where they're real basic and kind of in a blog fashion? And I mean, some of the things they were saying are the things that I'm telling you, like stop chasing your twin flame. You got to shut down the obsession. You got to stop making this about them. This is your spiritual awakening, and you just need to treat it that way. Meditate. Replace the obsession with meditating. And now it's just all the healing shit. It's all the new age healing hype. None of the people telling you to do the healing have helped anybody else to be with their twin flame. And they're nice enough people and everything. I mean, I'm not trying to bash anybody. They're just everybody's just trying to figure it out, but it's not working for them. They're not helping other people to be with their twin flame. I've helped thousands. I have coached 8,000 people. I actually talked about this not that long into the live stream that I did last week, where I showed, here's my website, here's the back office settings of my website. Yes, I've really had 8,000 students. These people like Gretel, the first gal here, and this is available in Spanish too, if you're watching in Spanish. But this gal here at the top, Gretel, she's married to her twin. I interviewed her 2 years ago. They're still together. I just talked to her not that long ago, and they were on vacation in Europe, having a good time. Ruxar, this one right here, now with kind of the black background. That was 4 years ago that I did that interview. They are still married. Again, I talked to her not that long ago, and they had kids and everything. So obviously the teachings do work, and they're logical. Of course they work. It makes sense that they work. They're the master's teachings. You're going beyond the separation of mind, and you're experiencing that oneness, that unity consciousness of self, and that's when your person comes back. And necessarily, you're not going to be making it about the other person at all. You're not going to be doing that. You are going to be only focused on your Zen game and experiencing yourself as oneness and just minding your ascension. And you're not really worried about the outcome with your twin flame, because the soul, it doesn't care about outcomes. So, it stands to reason, because logically that is what makes sense. And then when you look at the results, here's all the people that I've helped to be with their twin flame. So that's kind of the long and the short of the supposed original twin flame, Elizabeth Clare Prophet. Let me show you some other things about her. Well, we'll get to that. Well, I got some other stuff I want to share with you about Elizabeth Clare Prophet, but I can see you guys want to ask some questions in the chat. Bella Mora Ethereal. I have a rule. If you spam my chat, I block you. So you might want to stop doing that. Don't be posting your question a million times. And people who do that, I'm a lot less likely to answer your questions. So please be considerate that we don't pollute the chat stream. There's a lot of people here. But yeah, guys, we'll come back to that in a little bit here. Let's get to your questions as always for the live Q&A today. Super chats are turned on. If you guys want to get my attention, that's the way you do it. I don't have a regular job. Money is good. Money is good for you. If you are working hard and you're doing the best job that you possibly can, you should be rewarded for it. You should be paid for that. I don't have a job, right? I don't have like a corporate job, or I don't work for somebody else. This is it, guys. I got 3 employees. We got a full-time customer service department. I got all my students, and I'm up here working every day, guys. So show me some love. Show me some love so I can pay my people and keep running this operation. Your donations or super chats really do help you guys. I can't do it for free. I can't do it from a cardboard box in an alleyway either. So that's how you're going to get my attention. So let's get to this first question here, and I'll go ahead and do you, Bella. I appreciate your being mindful of the rules. This is actually a really great question, Bella. She said, you say that there are no emotions between twin flames once in union, but can you have sexual intimacy like you do with a soulmate? Or does it feel zen as well? And it kind of ties in with this question that Kim is asking too. So I'll kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone here with these questions. Yes, your junk still works, right? Your junk still works. That's no problem. You will be sexually attracted to your twin flame. The biology, the chemicals, that stuff's still there. You're still going to be aroused. If your twin flame's good looking and you're good looking, then yes, of course, There will still be arousal. It'll still be really good. And I gotta say, man, sex with your twin flame is some of the best sex. I've had sex with other people that was really fucking good too. No question about it. I don't know that sex with your twin is the best sex, but it's some of the best. But yeah, that's not a problem. And then of course, after the sex is over, you're back in Zen mode. You're back in being mode. And Zen mode is really the no state. Everything about non-dual teachings, guys, everything about this, like how this really works, the mind can't really understand it. Some people really struggle with that because the mind is duality, right? It's up and down, it's back and forth, it's yin and yang. Excuse me. It's this or that, right? It's duality. So to the mind, the way to get to union is always to become that. I have to become union or whatever, right? And you can't become union. Really, what's happening when union happens is you're unbecoming something that you never were in the first place. Kind of, in a sense, you are the mind and the body. And so there's kind of a sidebar conversation about, yeah, you don't want to bypass the body and mind, because as long as you're down here living in this meat suit, you will have a body and a mind. Yes. But there is a you who is having the body and mind, right? The soul, which is basically consciousness. You could think of the soul as like an astronaut inhabiting a spacesuit, and the body and mind are the spacesuit that allow you to exist here in duality, because this whole universe is duality, right? And that's kind of what the yin and yang symbol is talking about, the duality of the universe. And even science, in the discipline of science, they figured out that the universe works that way. And it all came from the one, the monad, the source, right? And science, they call it the one. They call it a singularity. It's single. It's the one. It's not duality. Huh, interesting. So science and spiritualism, the most fundamental mechanics of both science and spiritualism, are saying the same things. How fascinating. So to the mind, it's I have to become something, right? That's what the yin and yang symbol is talking about, right? So here, there, past, future. I am not, I will be. I am not now, I must become oneness or union or unity, spiritual, right? So the mind looks at it like it's a goal or an outcome, and that's actually holding you back. But really what's holding you back is the belief that you are the mind. You are actually the astronaut inside the spacesuit. You are consciousness, and it was there first. So going a little bit more deeply into your question, Bella and Kim, you don't become union. You really are unbecoming the duality of mind. You took on this identity when you got here. When you were born, when you first were born, day one, right? A newborn baby is a soul that just reincarnated, right? Now, is the baby laying there in its crib thinking about who it is? No. Well, let me show you something. I got a new prop. You guys are going to love this. You might have seen this one already, but I found this old picture. Guess who that is? Guess who that is? And it's a soul that just reincarnated. And this is when I was 1 day old. Right? Look at the nose. Right? You can totally tell. You can totally tell. So there's no self-concept. There's no thinking about who you are, a newborn baby. The only thing going on inside the baby is just consciousness. That's it. And the identity of self, the ego mask, who you now believe yourself to be, that came later, like 7 or 8 years old, right? It's a collection of retained thought and emotional imprints, the roles that you play in life, the places you've been, the things you've done, your dispositions, just kind of the way you are, the way you act, your beliefs, right? It's a collection of retained thought and emotional imprints, and it works on duality. Duality, right? So it's not really you who believes that you're trying to get to union. It's the spacesuit. The problem is you believe that you are the spacesuit. And I'm telling you, you are the astronaut. And you don't need me to do that either. That's the difference between a real spiritual teacher and a cult leader like Elizabeth Clare Prophet. Oh my God, dude. Where is it? Yeah, here you go. Yeah, there you go. We'll look at some interesting things about her. Not a twin flame. She was not a twin flame at all. Anyway, so it's an unbecoming. The mind cannot help you with getting into union because union is not something that you can get into. It's what you already were in the first place. And when you remember that you are that one, that I am, the oneness, emotions towards your twin flame, they just fade away. They do fade away. And I've even asked my person about it. And she said, yeah, it's always so neutral with us. Neutral, right? So there's not like this super intense emotional experience, even on their end. From what mine explained, I don't know, maybe it's different for your guy. Ask your DM. I don't know, anybody. I could maybe contact my students that are married to their twin flames, right? I got a whole bunch of them. Maybe I should do that. I go, hey, can you ask your person if they feel an emotion towards you? So I don't know. Maybe that's just mine. But affection is an emotion, Kim. Affection is an emotion. And emotions aren't bad. It's just not consciousness. It's not the soul. Twin flames, when you are together with your twin flame, it's just existing. It's peace. It's not any kind of a buzz or a high or anything like that at all. It's really just, it's like you're by yourself, but they are there with you, and that's all. That's the real experience with your twin flame when you are together with them. And it's not something that you become. You're unbecoming. You're really unbecoming. So great question. Great questions there all around. You guys, if you got any more, of course, hit me up and we'll chat about that. Let's go back to this lovely lady. So you saw this earlier in the live stream. This was her daughter that wrote this, Erin Prophet, who, again, she defected from the organization and she went on to become a college professor who specializes in the study of why do people join cults? Why does this happen? Right? This article here, I pulled up because it kind of explains everything that happened. Here's where they gave a date. It was going to be on March 15th, 1990. There you go. There's going to be a full-blown nuclear attack. And of course, it didn't happen. And Elizabeth Clare Prophet claimed that Jesus told her. No, that's not it. I want to show you guys something kind of interesting that I noticed as I was looking through pictures. I was looking for a picture to create the thumbnail for today's live stream. And of course, I went with, hold on, is it doing it? Oh, I don't know what just happened. My screen sharing turned off. Here we go. Okay. There it is. So, yeah, I went with this picture that I found in this LA Times article. This was, again, written by her daughter, Elizabeth Prophet. That's where I got the picture from. But I was looking through pictures on Google today to find one of Elizabeth Clare Prophet, who, again, she was not a twin flame. She absolutely was not. And when you look at the things she taught and the things that she did, pretty batshit crazy. But no, she did not have a spontaneous spiritual awakening. This is very well understood what that is, what a spiritual awakening really looks like. And then she also did all the fake channeling shit. And I kept seeing pictures of her like touching her temples, right? See how she's doing that? In this picture right here. Let me see if I can blow it up. There you go. See how she's doing that? Here you go. And I suppose she thinks Jesus is talking through her in that little gesture right there. I scroll down and there's this one too, right here. Okay. So again, touching her temples with her eyes closed, channeling Rayolite or whatever in the fuck she thinks she's doing. Here's another one that I found where she's doing it again. So I don't know. I mean, it's, how do you spot fakeness? Right? How do you spot fakeness? She sure did make a lot of money off of those poor people you saw during the intro. She took tens of millions of dollars from them. Here's a TikTok video I found where she's doing it again. She's like touching her forehead. Let's see if I can play this thing. Is it gonna let me do it?
Presence. I am here, O God, and I am the instrument of those sevenfold rays and archangels.
We are your instrument of those sevenfold rays and all your archangels, all of them.
And I will not retreat. I will take my stand. I will not fear to speak, and I will be the instrument of God's will, whatever it is.
We will not retreat. We will not retreat.
Well, that's interesting.
We will stand our ground.
Huh.
Well, we will not fear to speak.
Who's Mike Flynn?
We will be the instrument of your will.
Isn't he a politician? Huh. Interesting. I wasn't expecting that. Well, anyway, I don't know, you guys, if it looks like a duck and walks like a duck and quacks like a duck. Yeah, it's probably a duck. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's a duck. I'll take a duck for 200, Alex. Here's this one too. I just found this person who wrote a quick thing about, here's 5 books you could read about cults. And of course, there's the book about Elizabeth Clare Prophet, written by her daughter, Erin Prophet, is featured there. And it wouldn't be a proper episode where we talk about such things without at least giving honorable mention to, well, somebody else. And I don't love to use their names, but a lot of people are going to tell you that these two are running a cult. And I suppose that's just an opinion, but I don't know. I don't know, guys. You're allowed to have an opinion, and it sure is a popular one. And these guys, again, they're not twin flames. And that's not my opinion. Neither of them had this happen ever. They never talk about it. They didn't have a spontaneous spiritual awakening, and that's not an opinion. It's just empirical fact. They're not the same soul, these two. They are not the same soul, and they are also under investigation by the Attorney General. Don't you know? Yeah. So watch out, guys. This is a real phenomenon. It's just reincarnation. You know, I'm always trying to be the voice of reason. And I mean, you look at the things that I tell you guys to do about your twin flame. Number one, stop chasing them, stop talking to them, stop stalking them, stop being a weirdo. I know there's the obsessive thinking. I get it. I was there. I went through the whole thing, right? And there's this sense of meaninglessness and desperation. You basically can't function. You have this loss of identity. Like, I don't know who I am anymore, right? That part's really bad. And I've never experienced anything like that before or since. But guys, when you come out of it, to have this shit happening, Kundalini, out-of-body experiencing, out-of-body experiences, real psychic ability too. Legit being shown information about the future, and then it comes true. Right? Yeah, you don't just meet somebody, go through an ego death, which is a very well understood. They even talk about that in here. And you know, spiritual teachers, they've been talking about it for thousands of years. By the way, it's nothing new under the sun. Here's some more modern spiritual teachers. Yogananda, Krishnamurti. They've spoken about ego death. You guys refer to it as the dark night of the soul. But then when you come out of the suffering, all this weird shit happens. Look at this. And again, this is peer-reviewed scientific literature. This is not a magazine article. This appeared in a prestigious psychology journal called Frontiers in Psychology. And they're describing something that spiritual teachers have talked about for thousands of years. Having Kundalini, becoming psychic, merging with God, which is really a remembrance or this experience of oneness with everything. Out-of-body experiences and so on. This is from the University of Greenwich in London, the Imperial College of London. These are PhDs, college professors, psychologists, and so on. And again, if you're watching a clip video, the link is below, English, Spanish. If you're watching the live stream right now, the links for the English version of this article, not article, I keep saying that, peer-reviewed scientific research paper, right? Here's the reviewers. Link in the description. Look at this. They're using the word union. What's that word doing in there? It's in the first sentence. And then they talk about Kundalini, right? So this is a very well understood phenomenon. And meeting this person, who also, by the way, looks kind of like you, don't you know, triggers this shit. Yeah. And then, by the way, when you do the teachings of non-duality, they come back. When you are aligned with the deeper essence of your soul, this person who is the same soul as you, they come back. Very interesting. So yeah, there is a real phenomenon here that can be talked about, and we can have a rational discussion about that, but we're going to have to wean out all the BS that's out there. And there's a lot of BS out there, you guys. It's thick. Let me tell you, let's do some super chats from MJ. What's up, girl? It's Michael Jackson. Hee hee hee. Come on, girl. The way you make me feel. All right. MJ, what's up? MJ says, hey, by the way, tell Elvis I said hi if you're up there. She said, hi, Kurt. I got a spirit chill shiver at 3:33 p.m. Is this connected to the spiritual awakening? I don't know. I'd have to talk to you. I would have to go into further depth with you on that one. I'm going to say probably not. Just based on this description. I mean, you can leave another comment. If you want to leave another comment real quick, I'll try to find you and just try to describe it in a little bit more depth. It could be. It could be. If you want to give me some more information, a further description. But, you know, one of the things that people experience is called heart chakra opening, which I don't think is what you're talking about, but I'm assuming you're typing right now. So I'll just kind of talk about this for a minute. But heart chakra opening usually happens right around the time Kundalini happens. And there's, guys, it's so ridiculous. You know, I have that video on my True Twin Flame Teachings playlist where it's called the 7 True Twin Flame Signs, right? And it's 3 hours, that video. And I'm trying to figure out how I could make it shorter. But I don't know. I don't know how. Maybe I could make it 2 hours, but it's still kind of long because there's a lot of things first that could be going on. There's a lot of indicators. It's not just 7, but one of them, which is the metaphysical stuff, for example, I call one of the 7 signs. And then there's like 15 sub talking points underneath that one, right? And this is one of them. So Kundalini, and it's like I have to explain what Kundalini is, and I also have to justify that what I'm saying is the true definition of Kundalini, even though you can go look it up for yourself. And it's been talked about for ages. Why generally tell people what I generally tell people is you go to the library and get a book that was published before the year 1970, because the 1970s and the 1980s is when a lot of that like new age woo-woo kind of stuff started up, right? And by the way, there's Rockefeller money behind that. I'm just saying. Anyway, you can go watch. There's a live stream I did. If you go to my YouTube channel, go to the live stream section, scroll down, you'll find a live stream that I did called New Age Spiritualism, where I kind of decode that part of it. Well, anyway, so I've had people coming at me talking about, oh yeah, you bet. My twin flame and I were having sex and I had Kundalini. Yeah, when did that happen? At the end. No, dude, an orgasm is not Kundalini. Or people, they get like hot flashes or they have an emotion. And then when I tell them what Kundalini is, they go, yeah, I don't believe that. How do you know? Who are you? You don't get to decide what Kundalini is. I had Kundalini and I know I did. Fine. You want to know something? If you want to play semantics with me again, fine. But I'm not going to argue with you about what the definition of the word pencil is. But if you want to do that, okay, tell you what, you can keep the word. If you want to have the word pencil or the word Kundalini, keep it. It's all yours, baby, because I'm talking about the thing. All right? Now, it just so happens that the thing I'm talking about has always been called Kundalini, and it's where you feel in your spine, it's like your spinal cord is a water pipe, and you can feel the water surging up the pipe all of the sudden. It's all of the sudden. And it can happen all at once, or it can happen like over the course of a month or something, right? And I had that one, but they're still really intense, comparatively speaking. And it feels like kind of like your spine is a water pipe and you feel the water rushing up the spine, but it's energy and you feel it. It's not an emotion. Also, oftentimes associated with that sensation is like a sense of anti-gravity, like you're being pulled up into the sky. It's like there's a big elastic rubber band attached to your whole torso, and it's like pulling and stretching and pulling you up into the sky, right? Associated with that. So, that's a for sure confirmed, well understood, well described, well known, excuse me, phenomenon that you could be experiencing. Now, only 80% of people having a spontaneous spiritual awakening are going to experience Kundalini. And, well, I don't know if that's true. I know for sure 80% of twin flames, right? So I'm assuming it's the same across the board for anybody's spiritual awakening, because there's other ways that a spontaneous spiritual awakening can be triggered. So yeah, there's the possibility, 2 out of 10 people are not going to have Kundalini. And there's also, of course, like the strange knowingness. Everybody gets that. The strange knowingness, this intuitive knowingness that you feel in your heart. And it's powerful. And you know things about the future, and then they come true. It's not coming from your head. It's coming from your torso, usually the heart, sometimes lower, like the solar plexus. And it often feels akin to deja vu. So if you've ever had deja vu, which is that time where you it's this weird, well, not but it's an intense knowing coming from your body, and you are like, I've been here before, or I've done this before, deja vu. Well, intuition, it often feels just like that, except instead of I've been here before, it's information about the future or something like that. And then it becomes true. And then there's other things, out of body experiences. So you're not going to get every single one of them. But again, my 7 signs video, it's so long because I have to explain what these things are and what they are not. And I also have to justify by using third-party references, which is fine because, hey, we're going to bring some reason, some logic here to the twin flame niche. And I seem to be one of the only people doing that. Everybody else, they just kind of making stuff up as they're going along. And it's anything you want to believe, right? Just like the sun can rise in the north if you believe it does. No, no, it doesn't. It is what it is. But heart chakra opening is another kind of experience that you might have. So here's MJ's follow-up comment. She said, I get from my back where the heart would be, and it shoots up to my crown. So MJ, are you talking about this, what you talked about in your first question? Because in your first statement here, you said, I got a spirit chill shiver at 3:33. Is this connected to spiritual awakening? And now in your follow-up comment, you said, I get from my back where the heart would be, and it shoots up my crown. which kind of sounds like heart chakra opening a little bit. And I had that too. Heart chakra opening was happening right around the time that Kundalini was happening. And you're going to get stuff like that because you're part energy, guys, right? You know that. I don't have to tell you that. But the mind is part energy. It is part energy. And so is it going to work? Come on. There we go. So you have these energetic mechanisms, if you will, in your body. Chakras. They're like little radio transceivers, right? They transmit and receive. And they're hardwired tuned to the channel or frequency of your soul. That's really how that works. The soul, you could think of it like a television signal. That's actually a really accurate analogy to describe that. And the chakras are tuned to it. So right around, so the soul is primarily consciousness. You're having the awakening. Consciousness is exploding. It's pouring from within you. And yes, that's when you're going to be getting things like this, Kundalini and heart chakra opening, which is this really intense emotion. It's typically agape love, which is like divine love, like the oneness, the love of God, if you will. They even talk about that in here, in this article. The very first thing, it's characterized by a sudden sense of direct contact, union, or complete non-dual merging experience of oneness with a perceived ultimate reality, the universe, God, or the divine, right? And associated with that often is this agape love, which is the divine, like you see that everything is perfect and you're not separate from anything. Even like the wickedness in the world, you see the divinity and the perfection of it all. Not goodness and not badness. It's not yin and yang. It's not duality. It's something else, right? It's not duality. It's the oneness of source or of the divine, right? And it's this deep knowing of the perfection of all. And it's really intense in your heart. I mean, it is so super intense that you feel like, am I going to pass out? Am I going to fucking die? Like, can your heart take this much love? Right? Is it like going to make my heart stop working because it's like so much? It's unbelievable. And it's usually that kind of agape love. Other times it can be eros, which is the romantic kind of love. And I had that. I had eros, but most people, and I've done clinical work. You could say I've given twin flame tests to probably nearly 100 people. About 50 of them documented. And it's almost always that. So that makes me, what you're saying, MJ, makes me think more of like that. It could be connected to that. I'm just trying to make connections here because there's other things that you could be experiencing that I don't know about yet, MJ. I have, whenever I would give somebody a twin flame test, there's a question kind of towards the end where I say, okay, anything else? Anything that I haven't asked you? Because my questionnaire it's comprehensive. There's got to be 30 questions, right? And at the end, I go, is there anything else that I didn't ask you? Some kind of sensations or tingles or anything like that? fucking aliens, I don't know, angels visiting you. That actually ended up being one of my questions. Too. That's an interesting one. And I had that too. Were you visited by any strange people? Were there any strange visitors that came around at an unexpected time? And they said interesting things to you that caught your attention. And they just had, well, strangeness about them, you know? I had that. There's a video on my English speaking YouTube channel. If you guys are ever interested, um, you can find it on a playlist called Kurt's Spiritual Autobiography. And the video, there's 2 angel videos. It's not the one when I was 4 years old. It's the other one called Touched by a Physical Angel in the Flesh. And I'm convinced that's what it was. It was such a bizarre experience. But this, what I think was an angel, showed up in the form of a physical person. And just go watch it if you want to hear a fucking weird story. But I have other people that I've given the twin flame test to tell me, yeah, I had some strange person visit me at a really interesting time during the initial awakening. So I don't know, MJ, there's a lot of weird things that you could be experiencing, but I've never heard specifically what you're talking about. So I don't know. I might have to talk to you like in a one-on-one or something to try to figure that one out. Well, let's do another question from Guler Daka. Thank you for your super chat. Hi, Kurt. Is resistance normal on the spiritual journey? Sometimes meditation and spiritual practices become really difficult and I feel disconnected, difficult, or like I'm going backwards. Yeah, they can be. And it's really just the ego, the separate self, the pain body is part of that. Eckhart Tolle refers to the emotional part of the ego, right? The person, the separate self, right? So ego in the clinical sense, right? This collection of retained thought and emotional imprints that you have accumulated, right? The self-concept, which was not there at the beginning, right? At the beginning, it was just awareness. Day one, newborn baby, brand new, newborn baby. The only thing inside the baby is just awareness. Awareness itself, consciousness. The baby's not thinking about who it is, right? There's no self-concept. That doesn't happen until years later. And you accumulate these beliefs about who you are, the roles that you play, your dispositions, just kind of the way that you are as a person. And then you start to identify with it and you become that. You believe that you are that, right? And so it is that. It is the separate self. Gillier. Is it Gillier? I think it's Gillier. That I actually, and I just had somebody, what was it in Facebook? Yes, this is me. This is one day old Kurt. This was the day after I was born. But I just had somebody, I think it was Facebook, asking, I just don't feel like meditating anymore. What does it mean? Right? It's always like those are the worst 4 words in the whole spiritual community. Those are the worst 4 words ever. Remember this. Remember this credo. The worst 4 words in the spiritual community. What does it mean? What does it mean? Right? And immediately the mind starts looking outside. Oh, the universe is trying to tell me something. I'm not supposed to be meditating. There's some lesson I got to learn, blah, 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 blah. Never just, you're allowed to just exist. And you already are the oneness of all. You already are perfect. You already are whole and complete, right? The master's teachings, there's no becoming. You're fine the way you are. You are all of it. The all, God, right? Quote unquote God. The all isn't going to reject you, even the ego mask part of you, right? So those are the worst 4 words in the whole spiritual community. What does it mean? It immediately gets you hooked into signs and astrology and what I got to figure it out. What do I do? I'm going backwards, right? Like in this person's question. Giller. I think I'm saying that right. Right. Follow-up comment. They are saying, where is it? I have experienced oneness, kundalini energy, and a heart chakra opening, but for the past 3 weeks, I've felt spiritually blocked, disconnected, and strangely low. And this is where all the New Age stuff about like getting energy clearings and you've got a lesson to learn, or you could be, I'm getting spiritually attacked, right? And it's always, what does it mean? Look out there, find out what it is. What does God want me to do, right? It's never, I just am consciousness. Well, guess what, Giller? What it is for the last 3 weeks, it's the pain body. That's all it is. It's the emotional component of the ego, the separate self. That's all it is. It's nothing is happening to you. Nothing is happening to you. It's not some block or something that you need to get cleared. It's not. It's just the pain body creating this emotion of, I don't want to do this anymore. Like the person I'm pretty sure they were on Facebook and they said, I don't really feel like meditating anymore. What does it mean? There's those 4 words again. And I said, what it means is your ego is having an emotion. So Giller, for you to fix this is actually really simple. Because all these things, I feel blocked, disconnected, and strangely low. Right. Those are emotional sensations, right? Emotional sensations. You're feeling low instead of feeling high. Because again, one of the most common mistakes people make is spiritual is supposed to make me feel good and I feel down. I'm supposed to feel up and I feel low. Duality, yin, yang, the mind. And there's nothing wrong with duality. That's just what that is. I felt free and now I feel blocked, right? Duality, free, blocked. It's all mind. It's all mind. It's all mind, Giller. It's all mind that's doing that. And here's how you fix it. Here's how you fix it. You're not that which feels blocked, disconnected, and strangely low. You are not that. It's as simple as that. You are the observer of this entity that is feeling these things. And the ego, it loves to do this kind of shit. I talk to my coaching students about this all the time. This is a subject that comes up frequently on the coaching calls, and I talk about it, of course, in the video course too. The mind, again, because it's duality, because it's yin and yang, it's all about becoming. I have to become. I am not now, right? Yang. I am not now yang. I must become. Yin. Yin, yang. I am not. I must become. Duality, right? And feeling good is not spiritual. Feeling bad is not spiritual. Spiritual is where you go, I am the consciousness. And the reason this comes up all the time on this awakening journey that you're on, which is the pathless path, right? When the journey ends, you go, wait, I always was. How strange, right? But this is why non-duality, it's difficult to teach this because it always sounds like a contradiction, but it's not. Well, anyway, the ego wants to stay in control, Giller. It wants to stay in control. That's why it's giving you these sensations. It wants to take over again and trick you. And it worked. It worked, huh? It worked. Now it's got you back in seeker mode, trying to become something, trying to feel good again. So with your spiritual practice, you're simply acknowledging that the sensation or emotional state that you're feeling, blocked, disconnected, and strangely low, is exactly that, right? Low, high, duality, the mind. The soul is not duality. The soul does not feel high or low. It's neither of those. It's just being. And it simply observes. It is consciousness only, and thus only notices and observes that the mind is there doing that right now. And the mind wants control. It wants food, and it wants to try to figure out a way to get you back into the seeker mode. This is also why sometimes I refer to the ego as the identity entity, because oftentimes it'll operate like its own separate, like artificial intelligence computer robot with a mind of its own and everything. And it'll do stuff like that to trick you. It totally will. So that's all you need to do, Giller, is you can go meditate right now. And there's that sense of feeling blocked and disconnected and low, right? Notice that. Place awareness around it in your body. Sit with it. Allow it to be there. You're not trying to make it stop. You're not taking a nosedive into the feeling, and you're not resisting it. Go into it, resist it. Duality, you don't want to do that, right? You're just experiencing it. You're just being aware that you are the awareness, which currently is aware of this feeling in your body, this emotional state. And that's it. That's it. You just allow it to be there. It's like bad weather, right? It is as it is. It is as it is. And allowing it instead of resisting it, not only in meditation, but throughout your daily spiritual practice throughout the day, realizing that it's really just the separate self, the ego, and not you, the consciousness, actually does remove energy from it. It'll dissipate over time. Not because you're trying to make it stop, but because you're removing its fuel. Because you've been focusing on it. Focus, consciousness, attention, awareness, right? You've been adding energy to that spinning wheel. So that's all that is. Gosh, you know what, MJ? I would love a one-on-one too, because I just want your autograph so bad. And I want you to sing Billie Jean to me, please. Please. Billie Jean is not my twin flame. Da. She's just a girl who claims that we are at one. But the twin is not my son. All right. Solara Esoterica. That's a fucking cool screen name. That's awesome. Solara Esoterica. Thank you for the super chat. She said, I just wanted to say thank you. After finding your channel, I ran into him. Oh, your twin flame. But after prioritizing meditation daily, he recently reached out. I never thought this would happen. It works. There you go. I'm going to have to take a screenshot of that and use it in next week's Twin Flame Success Stories video. I had another one last week too. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that, man. That's great. Here, I'll just type some gibberish. There we go. Yeah, thanks for that, dude. And you're welcome. So basically, everybody, she just watched the free content and she listened to me saying 100 times, stop chasing, stop making it about them, stop thinking about them, or at least like try to like not on purpose anymore, because ruminating thoughts, they're going to happen, but do some kind of a detox. Stop on purpose, like actively obsessing and, wishing and wanting, and instead prioritize meditation, build spaciousness into your life. Read The Power of Now, read Untethered Soul, watch Samadhi, right? All the stuff I'm always telling you guys. And she fucking ran into him. This is why I'm saying, like, your twin flame could have you blocked, guys. It doesn't matter. You know how to get your twin flame to come back and stay? Oh, well, I know what it is, Kurt. We need to sit down and have that long-needed conversation. No. You don't need to do anything about the person. You already are them. You literally are your twin flame, you guys. Literally. You just have to be that. And it's an unbecoming of what you are not. You are not the mind. And they'll contact you. They will. They'll unblock you. You'll run into them. Guys, this happens all the time. Solera, her story, it happens all the time. Yeah, here's another follow-up statement. She said, yeah, as soon as I no longer cared about him coming back and was neutral and just happy to be in such peace, he came back and said, hey, happy 4th, after 1 year of not texting back. How about that? So he ghosted you for a year and told you, he told you hello. He told you happy 4th of July after 1 year of no contact. Yeah, and I like what you're saying here too. That signs video, it's long. It's long. And I do have shorter ones. I have other videos. I do short form videos like 3 minutes where I like blast through the signs. But again, it's so hard to just blast through the signs like that, right? Because people make stuff up about that. People make stuff up about psychic ability. They got their monkey mind talking and they start listening to their own monkey mind internal dialogue, and they think it's their twin flame talking to them or something. Or they think they're being spiritually attacked, which could actually be a sign of something called psychosis, by the way. Or they have a hot flash and they go, it's Kundalini. That's not Kundalini. But when I blast through the list, I'll go read through these bullet points super fast without really explaining them very well. In 3 minutes, yeah, you can't really explain things that well in 3 minutes, but I can explain it pretty well in 3 hours. Yeah, so thanks for sharing that, dude. That's awesome. Keep on keeping on. And again, guys, think about this empirically. Think about this rationally. I tell you the teachings are logical and they follow well understood principles from none other than the great spiritual masters like Buddha and Jesus and Paramahansa Yogananda, right? Even right down to the fucking words union and separation. So that's all on point. You look at it on paper and you go, this actually makes sense. This should work in theory, right? And then you try it out in practice and then it does work. So both in concept and in practice, this is working, guys. And again, I've coached 8,000 people in my twin flame coaching program. Yes, I really did that. Last week, I talked about that in the live stream, and I showed like the back office view of my website. Yeah, I've really coached 8,000 people, guys. And yeah, these people who are married to their twin flame, they are still married. And I've got, 8 or 9 interviews on here. Some people might say, oh, that's it. Well, first of all, if you scroll down, and this is available in Spanish too, by the way. But if you scroll down after the interviews, there's these other videos where I go around social media and I show you screenshots of the written testimonials that people leave all over the place, guys, just like Solera here. This is usually what you're going to get. Most people are not comfortable going on YouTube in a full-blown interview going, hi, everybody, I met my twin flame. I mean, maybe if you're together with them, you might be more willing to do that, but most people are not. And you can thank this lovely lady, Elizabeth Clare Prophet, who was not a twin flame. Again, she was not a twin flame. She did not have a spontaneous spiritual awakening. That's not my opinion. That's not my opinion. What a spontaneous spiritual awakening is well understood. It's very well understood, to the point now where prestigious universities and institutions are writing peer-reviewed science about it. So, because of somebody like her, and of course, also, who could forget these guys? Because of that, yeah, most people, they do not want to go on YouTube and go, hi, everybody, I met my twin flame. But I've got 8. Actually, 9. I think it's 9. With Carly, because Carly, she did not want to be with her twin flame. There's another myth that you're required to be with your twin flame. No, your twin flame is just one of your past lives. But that's this gal here at the bottom where it says her twin flame wants her. She does not want him. And again, English, Spanish, go check it out. I don't think I have Carly on here yet, but that's okay. But I got 8 guys, and that's far more than anybody else. And I don't say any of this to brag, guys. This is really important. I don't think I'm better than anybody else. I don't have a big head about it. It is really cool, though, because you look at the concept on paper, it makes sense, and then you try it out, and it fucking works. It keeps working. And on top of that, I'm personally invested. Because I met mine. And you guys are obviously personally invested too. Wouldn't it be nice if we had some answers that actually work and somebody with some proof that what they're saying does work? Well, here you go. Here you go, guys. That's why I talk about these testimonials so much, because I want you to know, yeah, there's a way. There is. You have to be actually a twin flame first. That's another part of this. So thank you, Solera. Hey, Rachel, thank you for your super chat. That's awesome. Much obliged. Well, it's been a couple of hours. We covered a lot of ground today. Go check out my the Origins of Twin Flames playlist. Like I said earlier, somebody figured it out. Somebody figured it out, you guys. Why are we using the words union and separation? Those words ended up in the twin flame space somehow. I don't know. I don't know, guys. Somebody figured it out. But it most certainly was not this person. She did not have a spontaneous spiritual awakening. She did not. And then when you look at the things that she went on to go do, fucking batshit crazy, man. Batshit crazy. And it isn't any surprise to me how the twin flame space is the absolute most toxic spiritual niche out of all the spiritual niches. Really, when you got somebody like her, Elizabeth Clare Prophet, as the person, and they all do it. The people in your typical like twin flame Facebook group or chat room, they all give her the, oh yeah, she was the first. They credit her for that. No, she was not. She did not have a spontaneous spiritual awakening. She is not a twin flame. She did not meet another incarnation of her soul. Elizabeth Clare Prophet, she's not a twin flame. Her and Mark were not the same soul. They absolutely were not. And that's not mean. I'm not mean for saying that. I'm not mean because I noticed or I realized, I figured out, I used my discernment to describe something, right? And this is another thing in the twin flame spaces. The language of emotionalism. It's all, well, if you feel it's true, then it is, right? It's my truth. There's no my truth. That's like covert toxicity. My truth. There's no my truth, guys. There's the truth. The truth. You're really going to go in front of the whole world and say that you and this person are the same soul? You better have some damn good evidence. And no, I don't have to believe you. So these are emotionalist arguments. They're not logical. And it's not mean to use logic. I'm not being mean at all. If I was being mean, I might call names, or something like that. Or make false statements, right? That's what a mean person does. But to the language of emotionalism, empiricism sounds like hate. To the language of emotionalism, empiricism sounds like hate. Elizabeth Clare Prophet was not a twin flame. Her and Mark were not the same soul. And then she went on and created a cult. What a crazy story. Absolutely batshit, balls to the walls, fucking crazy. So where did the original true twin flame teachings come from? Where did those come from? I want to know who figured it out. And I don't know if I will ever find that person who originally figured it out. And again, what the true twin flame teachings are is this first video here. Again, English, Spanish, same thing. You can find this playlist on my YouTube channel. The very first video, where on the thumbnail it says the ultimate truth. The very first video, it is first for a reason. Those are the true twin flame teachings. It's those words, guys. Why do we use those words? Union and separation. And when you find out what those words really mean, it's the Rosetta Stone for twin flames. You guys, it really is. That's why my playlist is called The True Twin Flame Teachings. Like, Kurt, what gives you the right to say you have the true twin flame teachings? Well, look at the logic and then look at the results. First of all, but when you watch that first video, The Ultimate Truth, Watch the whole thing. I break it all down, guys. It's those words. How did those words get there? How did those words end up in the twin flame niche? How? Who figured it out? Somebody figured it out before the internet. And it was not Elizabeth Clare Prophet. It absolutely was not. Angels and Wolves, thank you for your super chat. Kurt, after watching your twin flame signs video, I noticed that I got 19 out of 25 signs. 76% of the signs, but no detaching test yet. I'm still meditating every day, though. If I gave you a twin flame test, I would look at which signs you got. I would look at which ones you got. And Angels and Wolves, I'm quite familiar with you. I've seen you on my YouTube channel for a long, long time. I know that you watched the whole video and you're on my live streams all the time. I know that you have taken the time to carefully learn about all this and understand this and take this seriously. So I'm positive that you considered everything that I explained in that signs video, right? And that said, I know that when you're telling me that you got 19 or 20 out of the 25 signs, that you know what you're doing, you know what you're talking about. So I would simply ask you, well, which signs did you get? The big ones that I'm looking for, psychic intuition. 100% of people that met a twin flame have that. Kundalini, 80% of people that met their twin flame had that. And if you did not, I would look at some other things still too, right? But if you did have that, that's a pretty strong one. Angels and Wolves. So let me know in the chat. Let me know. If you had Kundalini, also the experience of oneness, the non-dual merging. Everybody has that. Perhaps psychic dreams, maybe. Heart chakra opening, maybe an out-of-body experience, which could just be something as simple as like viewing yourself from an outside perspective. So if you got some of the bigger indicators, which I just listed off, amongst the 19 or 20 signs that you think that you got, but no detaching test, I would put you at a 100%. I would put you at a 100%. If you got some of the bigger qualitative indicators, but no detaching test, the quantitative, right? This also includes you. Yeah, I don't get DMs. The moment is now, Angels and Wolves. Did you get the big ones? Psychic intuition, Kundalini, heart chakra opening. Oh, you're one of my Facebook moderators. Okay, well then you can DM me. You can absolutely DM me if you're one of my Facebook moderators. But I seriously get about 100 of those a day, plus comments on my YouTube channel and all that. So I just don't have time, guys. I feel bad every time somebody DMs me and I can't answer, or somebody's asking a question, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do. There's only one of me. There's only one of me. But yeah, you can DM me. But for the people watching, if you got those bigger indicators, and again, in the order of, again, a very short bubble phase, 4 to 8 weeks, then dark night of the soul, then the awakening signs, the weird metaphysical stuff, in that order, according to that timeline. And the qualitative signs that you got were the bigger ones that I just listed off. I would tell you 100%, yes, they're your twin flame. And there's also the eyes and, stuff like that. And for anybody watching maybe the replay or something like that, if you want to see what video I'm talking about, just go to my True Twin Flame Teachings playlist. Again, English or Spanish, whichever one. Not this one. Here we go. Whichever language, English or Spanish, right? Go to the True Twin Flame Teachings playlist. And it's right here, the 7 True Twin Flame Signs. It's 3 hours long. It's long on purpose. And it's free, guys. It's not going to cost you anything to watch it. And don't use the AI ask button. Do not do that. It's going to give you a summary. And people that are in the obsessive mode, they're going to just read that real quick and go, yes, I got all of these. And then if I talked to them, I'm going to go, you're not a twin flame. And they're going to go, but I got all the signs, right? Like if I gave them a twin flame test. Because again, in the 7 True Signs video, one of the reasons it's so long is I got to explain what these things are. And like, for example, like what the experience of Kundalini feels like and compare it to what it does not feel like, because people got to make stuff up about that too. This is why I'm always using third-party references from trusted sources. I show up with receipts, guys. I do not make shit up. I can prove the things that I'm saying. I bring receipts. I bring receipts to the table. What Kundalini is not debated in the spiritual community. It's debated by people in the twin flame niche who are going to tell you, well, if it feels true, then it is. And when I come along and start using logic, they tell me that I'm mean and I'm bad. Because again, to the language of emotionalism, empiricism sounds like hate. So this is not my opinion, and it's not anybody's opinion, what these things are. And that's why that video is so long, because I explain everything really well to you guys. And it cost me money to make that video. It costs money to do this, guys. I've got 3 employees, and it's my pleasure to do that. And the reason I'm telling you that is because it's free. I want you to get educated. I want you to go watch that video. It's free, guys. It's like a college course on how to really tell if this person and you are the same soul. Don't you want to know the answer to that? And don't just watch half the video, because about halfway through is when I get into the more like esoteric metaphysical stuff. But you got to watch the whole thing, guys, from beginning to end. So just watch an hour today and an hour tomorrow. Take notes. Do a really good job. Because if you're going to go around telling people and yourself believing that you and this person are the same soul, that's a pretty extraordinary statement. That's a pretty bold statement, don't you think? You better be really sure that that's true. And anyway, if you're not sure that this person and you are twin flames, you're going to do all the inner work, which is not work. It's the no state, right? But the non-dual teachings, expecting a result with your twin flame, and then nothing happens. Why? Because they're not your twin flame. If they are your twin flame, then they'll come back. Now, paradoxically, you cannot expect a result. But that's part of what you're going to be doing. You're going to take yourself through that whole process. Because it's the non-dual teachings. You're in a state of no mind, so you don't care about a result. Angels and Wolves continuing. Yes, I had 8 instances of psychic intuition, Kundalini, and many experiences of Satori twice, a few psychic dreams, 1 out-of-body experience, and heart chakra activation. And again, Angels and Wolves, I know exactly who you are. You've been in here for a long time. You're one of my moderators, for goodness sake. I know that you're highly educated about this stuff, and you took the time to watch the whole video. So just based on your comment right here, yeah, they're your twin flame for sure. I would put you at 100% because you got all those big things. I would put you at 100% if I gave you a twin flame test. Yes, that's exactly how it happened. I had a 5-week bubble love phase. She dipped out. I had the dark night of the soul, then started having psychic intuition, in some case years in advance. You guys are the same soul. You guys are the same soul. You are. This is easy to see. You don't just meet somebody, you guys, and then become psychic. Oh, yeah, that happens every day. You bet. No. Or like you'll see somebody talking about, it's just a trauma bond. That was last week's live stream. It's just a trauma bond. Or it's just limerence. Yeah, you don't just meet somebody and legit become psychic, dude. This one. Then once I found out what was going on, I started having more hits of psychic intuition, then had the repeating numbers, then Kundalini, then Satori, then heart chakra activation in that order. Yeah, there you go. And yes, technically everybody is psychic, but most people are shut off from their own spiritual gifts because they believe they are their mind. It's the ego. It's the ego. This other person's comment, I just wanted to look at this. Kurt, I met him. I have 90% of the signs, including the detaching test, 3 times during this journey. He is ghosting me, but hacking my phone, even after I changed the number. I'm begging, but he's ghosting. I don't know. Every time I see stuff like that, that's kind of a red flag. So I don't know. I'd have to talk to you. I'd have to talk to you to make sure. No offense, but I don't know who you are. And I've seen this before where they go, oh, yeah, you bet. I got all the signs. And then I talk to the person and I find out they didn't get any of the signs. And their twin flame is hacking their phone. That's, I don't know. Maybe it's possible. I'm not saying that that's not true, but I'd have to talk to you. I just had somebody in the Facebook group, the public New World All-Star Facebook group, declaring that they're getting spiritually attacked and their twin flame is using black magic on them. And here, let me see if I can find it and I'll read it for you guys. Pretty extraordinary statements. Oh, and they are saying that their twin flame is that Luigi guy who shot the United Healthcare CEO in the back. Do you guys remember that? With the curly hair, the Italian guy? I believe his name was Luigi. Or maybe I'm just saying that because he was Italian. I don't know. I think his name was Luigi, legit. I think that was his name. He shot the United Healthcare CEO in the back. And this person insists that he is her twin flame. And then in their post, they're going on and on and on about how they're being spiritually attacked by them. They said, I was activated in February of 2025 and have been in a spiritual warfare situation of varying intensity ever since. He spiritually blocked me years before, then activated me after being caught for a crime he committed. He called me in, merged, attacked me, and stole my gifts while I was in low frequency. I am stuck in the 3D being telepathically attacked by him and his karmic who he bound with and has now switched to be his twin flame, apparently. Yeah, and she thinks the Luigi guy is her twin flame. Okay, I've been doing this for 8 years, and I don't get up here and say this stuff to be mean, you guys. I really don't, but this is a real problem in twin flame world, you guys. People that have something more like this going on, and I mean this in the most clinical, empirical, scientific way possible, right? Because I know like calling somebody schizo is used as a pejorative insult, but I am not using it that way. I'm using it in the clinical sense. Having these types of psychological delusions, and I mean delusion in the empirical sense, right? And then also, of course, like romantic ideation, schizoaffective disorder or schizophrenia also includes bouts of psychosis. So listening to the voices in your head and believing that that is really happening to you, believing that you are experiencing psychic attacks, or that you're being followed, or that your phone is being hacked, or that you are having kundalini. I mean, stuff like this. And I'm not, to the person in the chat, I don't know you. You, I hope, are not mad at me because I don't know you. You could be a perfectly normal functioning person. But whenever I see stuff like that, that's a little bit of a red flag. It is. That doesn't mean it's not true. For somebody to hack your phone, by the way, is a pretty extraordinary, like, it takes some pretty top shelf computer knowledge to do stuff like that. And normally, always, a so-called divine masculine twin flame, they don't want to have anything to do with you. Like when you're in chaser mode, they don't want to hack their phone. They want you to leave them the fuck alone and never talk to you again. So hacking your phone, I don't know. I don't know, guys. And I've seen this so many times. I've coached students with diagnosed schizoaffective disorder, and I'm not a psychologist, or legit like psychological paranoia, like diagnosed, or borderline, or something like that. And you almost can't talk them out of it, that it's their twin flame. They're not going to hear it. And I gave them the twin flame test, and they don't really answer the questions. They kind of like give you word salad answers. They kind of dodge the questions. Or if they do answer the questions, they don't have any of the legitimate awakening signs, right? Which are scientifically discussed now in peer-reviewed research. Instead, it could just be partly this and partly psychosis. I once had, and this, again, if you're watching a clip, if you're watching me in Spanish right now, I'll put the link for this for you in the video description. I don't have the Spanish links in my live stream, but you could be watching a clip. So English, Spanish, they're going to be in the video description for both the Frontiers in Psychology article about, not article, I always say that, damn it. It is a research paper. It is peer-reviewed scientific research paper from universities, peer-reviewed, about what it's really like to have a spiritual awakening. And then I contrast it with this obsessive love disorder, right? And I once had a student who, she was a real pushy, gaslighty, like angry, accusing me of holding her to a double standard, this kind of thing, and insisting that her twin flame was talking to her telepathically on this side of her head, and that her spirit guides were talking to her telepathically on this side of her head, and that she could feel his emotions also. And she was like the weird third party that would tag along with him and his girlfriend. Like, they didn't exactly want her there, but she was like a third wheel. You know what I mean? And she would like follow them around. Like if they would go camping, she would go to the same camping ground and camp there. And she claimed to be able to feel whatever he was feeling emotionally, or like if they were having sex or something, she could feel it, right? And she also is talking about Yes. My twin flame talks to me on this side of my head, and my spirit guides talk to me on this side of my head, right? And I tried to give her the twin flame test, and she was very difficult the whole time. And she also kept giving me the answers that I wanted to hear. I noticed, like when we got to the Kundalini part, the way that she described it was not Kundalini. And then she kept telling me, like, she would gaslight me and tell me that I was bad. And I was like doing a bait and switch, like changing the standards so that I could fail her test. And I said, no, what you're describing is not Kundalini. And then we kept talking about it. And by the end of that part of the conversation, what she said she experienced was what I was talking about. And I'm like, well, I just explained it to you. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So I'm telling you, you guys, a person with legit psychological problems, they don't look like what you think they do. And they don't talk like what they think you do. It's not like the pop culture shit that you see on television. It's not like that. You can have a conversation with them for hours before noticing what's up with this person. And then the whole thing about experiencing telepathy, like her twin flame talking to her on this side of her head and her spirit guides talking to her on this side of her head, that's psychosis, guys, is what that is. And that's not my opinion. Nobody gets to decide how these things work, guys. Not even me. Real telepathy can be described by legitimate paranormal researchers like Julia Mossbridge here. Dr. Julia Mossbridge is an American cognitive neuroscientist, author, and educator who works on exceptional human performance, including psi effects, notably on precognition and presentiment. She is Senior Distinguished Fellow in Human Potential at the Center for the Future Mind at Florida Atlantic University, member of the Loomis Innovation Council at the Nonpartisan Stimson Center, affiliate professor in the Department of Biophysics and Physics at the University of San Diego, and founder and board chair of the nonprofit Institute for Love and Time. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure she knows exactly what telepathy is and how to tell if you've really experienced telepathy. And I have, but never with my other self, my person. I don't know who it was, actually. Well, one time it was a girl that I used to date, and she died. That's actually in my playlist. There's a playlist on my YouTube channel called Kurt's Spiritual Biography, and there's a video called, I don't remember exactly what it's called, but I was contacted by my dead lover, and it was right before the twin flame journey started, by the way. Very interesting. And then there was another time I was standing in my dining room downstairs trying to figure out what to put on this wall. There's like a big blank wall. And I thought, well, I could put a picture, but everybody does that. Although I could pick a cool picture, but I don't know what I would put. I would want it to be something that I made unique, but I don't know. What should I do? Yeah, maybe something else. A clock. Yes, a clock. Who are you? And here's what happened. So telepathy only comes from one place. It only comes from one place. This is not my opinion. This is not my opinion. Julia Mossbridge will tell you. And she's not the only one. She is just one person who does legitimate, controlled, peer-reviewed scientific research into psychic ability. She's getting money, guys, funding, because she is able to prove the things that she is saying. Yeah, somebody in the chat must have watched my video, because it was the next night I ordered a pizza and I was laying in bed going, I shouldn't have done that. I ate the whole thing. Why do I keep doing that? It's not good for you. Because it's addictive. Who the fuck are you? My dead grandmother? I don't know. Anyway, Julia Mossbridge is not the only person who can explain to you what legitimate telepathy is. So telepathy, not intuition. Intuition is a different kind of psychic ability, or, like clairvoyance, right? So there's different kinds of psychic ability. Telepathy is just one of them. And it comes from the pineal gland, your third eye chakra. Only the pineal gland. Remember this woman that was listening to her twin flame on this side of her head and listening to her spirit guides on this side of her head. You guys, I've had, I'll be falling asleep at night and maybe I had a busy day and the monkey mind is kind of going, and I'll hear some little comment from the monkey mind. Because, the monkey mind does that, right? Like you see some reckless driver cutting you off or cutting somebody else off on the road, and you think, what a dick bag, right? And you didn't do that on purpose, right? The mind, it just does that, right? That's hence the name, the monkey mind. Well, your mind is capable of having its own independent internal dialogue. It can comment, and it can comment about other thoughts that are going on. And one time I had one from this part of my head, and you'll notice most of your thoughts come from your frontal lobe, not your pineal gland. Your pineal gland is back here, and it's thought also. So that's the next thing. So the location matters. It comes from your pineal gland, no other place on your head. And I've had thoughts back here where it was like some kind of a trailing, like my monkey mind was commenting on something, right? So legit telepathy only comes from one place, the pineal gland, and it's not thought. It's sound, you guys. It is sound, and it even has low audio quality, like a cell phone or something like that, right? Here's an example. Wait. Hold on. That's my Russian. That's my Russian teacher. Hold on. Maybe that one? I don't know. No. Hold on. I have an idea. Okay, here we go. This is your pineal gland. Hello. Hello. Can you hear me? Right? Hello. So it's low audio quality like that, like a cell phone or something like that, right? This is your pineal gland. Hello. Hello. Can you hear me? Hello. And it's sound, and it's going to be somebody else's voice. That's telepathy. And this person that I had on my program is just listening to the voices in her head, right? And she believes that these voices are really talking to her. That's not a good sign, guys. That's not a good sign. And I'm telling you, the twin flame niche, it attracts these people like a magnet. It's full of them. So be careful who you're talking to out there, you guys. You don't know who you're talking to. And again, what somebody with a problem like that looks like, you can talk to them for a couple of hours without ever thinking anything of it. You might start to put stuff together after a couple of hours or think to yourself, well, that was peculiar, right? Again, I've had students in my program who told me flat out that they had some kind of a diagnosis, and I had been talking to them for months, and they finally told me that. And one in particular, I remember the moment when they told me, and I didn't say anything, but in the back of my head, I was like, okay, that makes sense. Because I was questioning this person for a while. Like, I don't think this person is a twin flame. With my coach, her name's Kayla, my assistant. You know, as I've been training her, I told her, well, this is one of the more unpleasant kind of conversations. I don't want to say things that appear to be disparaging about anybody, but it's not disparaging if it's true. It's just a fact, right? It's the cold, hard clinical truth. And we have in our program 3 basic kinds of people, right? Squares, circles, and triangles. A circle is somebody that met a twin flame. A square is somebody who did not meet a twin flame, but it's like soulmate vibe. And there's nothing wrong with them. They're not pathological or anything like that. They're just confused. They think they met a twin flame and they didn't. It was just a romantic encounter and they really liked that person. That's a square. Triangles, yeah, these are triangles. So we have circles, squares, and triangles. And you know, to be a good coaching organization, you know, we communicate about some of our students offline. And that's one of the things, you know, sometimes we'll say, yeah, I think so-and-so is a triangle. And, you know, some of the squares and the triangles, though, they benefit too still from kind of what we're teaching. Because, guys, what am I telling people? Stop chasing your twin. Stop obsessing over them. Stop making this about the person. This is your spiritual awakening. And then I start teaching you the non-duality teachings. And somebody who is mentally distraught is going to benefit greatly from non-duality teachings, meditating, right? Slowing down, building spaciousness into your life, and not listening to the mind, not believing that you are the mind. Well, yeah, somebody with psychological issues, I'm going to imagine that they could only benefit from something like that. I've even had psychologists tell me that mindfulness meditation is a very common practice that is prescribed by psychologists. So there you go. And I am not a psychologist, but so just be careful out there, guys. They're out there and they're hard to spot unless you kind of know what to look for. And I've been doing this for a long time. By the way, somebody wants to know how to get a twin flame test from me. I am currently not offering them. I paused that because I really needed a break. And I got to roll out some other things. Although I will be offering them again eventually in the future. I need more data for my book also. So I need more people to talk to. And of course, I'm going to ask, you know, first if I can use your information, and it'll all be done anonymously. Instead of a name, it'll be you're just a number, you know, you're number 27 or whatever. But yeah, I will be doing those again. But I'll tell you what, if you go watch my 3 signs video, like I said, the 7 signs video, it's 3 hours long. Like I said, watch the whole thing and take notes. You should be able to figure it out. You should be able to get your answer. Let's see. Kurt, in the chat, somebody wants to know how it was figured out that twin flames are the same soul. They're also asking, what if they are kindred spirits on the same frequency, acting as a cosmic mirror? Well, I don't know what the answer is. I don't know how they figured that out, but I can make a really good guess as to how they figured it out. One possibility is that they were told that psychically. It's possible. Less likely. Did I miss a super chat? I don't see your super chat. But that's okay. I'm still answering your question anyway. And it is actually an interesting question. Jewel 9. So how could you have figured that out? Well, when you do the non-dual teachings and this person immediately contacts you when you shift into a deeper Zen state, and that happens multiple times, and then you guys look the same. You have the same facial features and the same eyes. Every time you're in a mental state of separation and focusing outwardly on the person, which is what the mind does, they don't want to be with you. But when you go within and you are aligned with the unity or union of soul, they come back. And then there's the that's the like outwardly 3D mechanism of the twin flame push pull, right? But then there's also people who have, including myself, physically experienced the energy exchange between you and your person. So do you remember earlier when I talked about Kundalini and I said it's like the water pipe in your spine and there's water going up, but then also associated with that sensation can be a sense of anti-gravity. Like there's a big elastic rubber band attached to your whole torso, and you feel it like physically pulling and stretching and pulling you up into the sky and like pulling you around too. And it's not an emotion. It's not anything other than a force. It's a force pulling at you like a Star Trek tractor beam. Right? Okay. I experienced that with her. And about 50% of the people that met their twin flame have this. Not everybody does, but half of you do. And you can feel it pulling from your body going to their body. And some of the divine masculines have said that they felt it pushing onto them, including mine. But not everybody asks either. So I'm going to assume all the divine masculines can feel it pushing onto them. They just don't say anything. And mine did not for 3 weeks. The first time it happened, it was like 2 or 3 weeks later, I asked her about it. And she goes, yeah, I could feel that. And I'm like, don't you think that's kind of weird? What do you think that was? I don't know. Okay. Okay, divine masculine. Right? Okay. So, you know, it's kind of like that old saying about, somebody who says, if I win the lottery, I'm not going to tell you, but there will be signs, right? Like I'll disappear or something like that, or get a yacht suddenly, right? Why does he have a yacht? I thought he worked at the post office. How can he afford a yacht, right? But yeah, the biggest one is the non-dual teachings of union and separation. When you enter that state of union and they immediately come back, so all you're doing is soul stuff. That's all you're doing. You're in that state of oneness. And this person keeps coming back, and then your faces look the same too. Very strange. Very strange. Not that one, this one. Very strange, guys. Also, plausible explanation. Very, very plausible explanation that I've recently come up with about like how it is that you guys are the same soul, which also conveniently explains why you have more energy, why there is the push-pull, why are you the positive polarity, why do you have more energy? Your energy flows from you to them because you have more, right? So it's akin to something called the second law of thermodynamics. And I think the mechanism might actually be a little different, but it's similar. In a closed energy system, energy moves from greater to lesser. It's the second law of thermodynamics, right? So that's why there is the push-pull with your twin flame. What makes them run when you focus on them, but then they come back when you stop. So there's a mechanism there, and you can turn it on and off. And then I said, well, why is there the push-pull? And I came up with this, and this is a pretty solid explanation that your twin flame is one of your past lives. It complies with very basic, well understood physical laws, which are taught in middle school, high school, by the way. Also, it explains how you could be the same soul. It's just reincarnation. And it explains where that energy came from. How did you, divine feminine, get to be the one with more energy? How did that happen? Well, consciousness increases with each life lived, and that's very well established and accepted by all spiritual people. The more times you reincarnate, you are growing in consciousness. Energy is increasing. Touche. So that was my contribution to the twin flame space, was to figure that part out. And it sure does play in to the idea that twin flames are the same soul now, doesn't it? Because I mean, that is as solid as can be, you guys. This explanation for twin flames. It's a very simple, very rational explanation, and with zero holes. Zero holes. How could you be the same soul? And why do they run? Why do you have more energy? There are zero problems with this explanation. And again, y'all look the same. You and your twin flame look the same, especially around the eyes, not the color of the eyes, but like the shape of the bone around the eyes, right? Yeah. Of course, you guys kind of look the same. So now, originally, when somebody figured out that you're the same soul, I think it was the non-dual teachings. Because again, why are we using the words union and separation? That, again, that is the Rosetta Stone for twin flames. The fact that we are using those words, union and separation, and it's the very first video on my playlist called The True Twin Flame Teachings. It's the very first video right here where the thumbnail says the ultimate truth. That video is first for a reason. It's the Rosetta Stone, guys. Why are we using those words? Separation and union and detaching too. Because when you realize that you're one with everything and that you were never separate, that's detaching, because there was never anything else for you to get attached to in the first place, right? Somehow those words made their way into the current twin flame environment. But I realized that somebody else long ago were using those words the correct way, because those words are used by everybody in the spiritual community. Twin flames are the only ones who are confused about the meaning of those words. Everybody else is using them to describe the mind is separation, the soul is union. Everybody else is clear about that. You got 100% of the spiritual community, and out of it, this tiny little niche over here called twin flames, 2% of the spiritual community, probably 1%. And they think that those words are a relationship status, twin flames. But the entire rest of the spiritual community maybe never even heard of twin flames. They know what those words are. Those are states of consciousness. But somehow those words made it into the online twin flame environment. So somebody figured it out. Somebody figured out, if I align with this deeper I am essence, this person keeps coming back. But if I'm aligned with the separation of mind, they run again. I wonder if we're the same soul, right? So that's what I think happened. And that's actually Jewel 9, your question. Something that's a thought that I have had before. Yes. Like, I wonder if the true twin flame teachings, the words, is how they figured out that they were the same soul. It would have to be. I've had that thought before. You asked also another, good follow-up question just a second ago. Yes, you're saying, but isn't it strange that the divine masculine never recognizes their own soul? Well, it's not strange, because they haven't awakened spiritually. And again, what a spiritual awakening is not subjective. It's objective. It's not decided upon, right? And it's to the point where there's even scientific research now about that, right? Once again, with this article, and all they're doing is describing something that spiritual people have talked about for a long, long time. Only a twin flame is going to tell you that you're wrong for defining terms, what a spiritual awakening is, right? Because there's so much like ridiculousness and toxicity in the twin flame niche, and anything goes. Logic, fuck that. We can't have that. You're mean and you're bad if you're using logic. Really, I've had people tell me that. But if somebody suffers, like I've gotten this a lot of times. They're a divine masculine, so-called, right? And by the way, this is always coming from somebody who is actually not a divine feminine twin flame. They're not a twin flame at all. The people that argue with me about this stuff, people that really met a twin flame, if you tell them that they did not, they don't have any problem with that. They've got no problem with that. It's the people that actually did not meet a twin flame and never had a spontaneous spiritual awakening. Those are the ones that get all mad. They get all offended when you tell them that they did not meet a twin flame, right? Those are the ones. Isn't that interesting? But somebody who is a twin flame, that's actually one of the questions on my twin flame test. And I save it for kind of the middle. So I ask them a lot of pertinent questions. And then I go, well, John, what if I told you it's not your twin flame? And then I just stop talking just to see what they say. And somebody who's not a twin flame, they start bargaining or arguing or trying to convince me that it is, right? And they're not having it. And I got to spend the rest of the session convincing them that I know what I'm talking about. And I show them this article. I explain that in this article, it's not an article, I keep saying that. It's a scientific paper. This is peer-reviewed science from the University of Greenwich in London, the Imperial College of London, college professors, psychologists, right? Describing the same thing that spiritual people have talked about for millennia, having kundalini, becoming psychic spontaneously, leaving your body, some pretty extraordinary things, right? So what a spiritual awakening is not subjective. And these people, I have to explain that part to them. Like, I'm not making this up. This is not my opinion or anybody's opinion. This is the indicator that it's your twin flame. And they still don't quite believe me. And they haven't had any of the things, kundalini, psychic ability. They were maybe dating this person for 2 years instead of the short, like 8-week bubble phase. It's just stuff like that. Now, the person that is hitting all the check boxes, when I ask them that question, they go, well, I would just say, okay, Kurt, I would believe you. Or they would say, Kurt, if you told me that this person is not my twin flame, I would feel relieved. Really, they would feel relieved if I told them. That's the kind of answer I get from somebody that did meet their twin flame. So whenever I see somebody talking about my divine masculine is awakening, you're wrong, Kurt. You're a narcissist. They call you a narcissist, which usually somebody, when you are winning a debate, when you are winning an argument and you're being rational and calm, and somebody calls you a narcissist, it's because they are a narcissist. That's like a narcissist. That's like one of their favorite things is to call you a narcissist. But my point is, it's usually coming from somebody like that. They did not meet their twin flame, and they're just insisting that their divine masculine twin flame is awakening. Well, what's really happening to their divine masculine twin flame is, first of all, they're not twin flames. They are not. So he actually is not divine masculine. It's just some random person that they are obsessed with. And this random person happens to be going through a struggle, a difficult period in life, right? But after the struggle or the difficult period, this never happens. A spontaneous spiritual awakening never happens on the part of their person. It does not happen. It does not happen. The only thing that did happen was their person went through a difficult period in their life. And some people think, especially twin flames, who are not twin flames, people who just call themselves twin flames, right? Which is like, I'm telling you guys, it's well over 90% of the people who say they are a twin flame. No, they are not. They think if you suffer a bunch, that's a spiritual awakening. No, in order for it to be a spiritual awakening, it starts with suffering, yes. And then after the suffering, this happens. It's like people, they go, well, I had dark night of the soul. No, you did not. Because after the part where you suffered, you did not have kundalini. You did not become psychic. You did not have heart chakra opening. You did not have psychic dreams. You did not have out-of-body experiences. You did not experience a sense of oneness. None of those things happened. Well, then what did happen, Kurt? Suffering. You just had a difficult patch in your life. And the same thing with this person who you call your twin flame. They are not your twin flame. They just went through a rough patch in their life. Suffering does not equal spiritual awakening. That's not my opinion, and I'm not mean for saying that. I'm truthful for saying that. But again, to the language of emotionalism, empiricism sounds like hate. To the language of emotionalism, empiricism sounds like hate. So that's the first thing, Jewel 9. But it just so happens that in a real twin flame situation, no, the divine masculine does not awaken. And if somebody's divine masculine twin flame only goes through a period of suffering, that does not equal spiritual awakening. He just suffered. He just had a rough patch in his life. He's not going to become psychic. And again, you're telling me, don't you think it's strange that the divine masculine never experiences those things? No, I don't think it's strange, actually. I think it makes a lot of sense. And I will show you exactly why. Give me just a moment. I need to rearrange my studio here. Give me just a second. Nope, not that. I will show you why it's not strange. And actually, it really reinforces my theory that you guys are future or past versions of each other, and that you guys are the same soul. You are simultaneous incarnations of the same soul, right? So what you're looking at, this diagram here, is the big circle at the top is your higher self existing on a higher plane. And what does science tell us about time? Well, that it's relative. It's not that there's no such thing as time. That is not what science says. What science says about time is that it is relative. It depends on your relative place in the universe or energy. Hence the name, the theory of relativity, right? So on a higher plane of existence, scientists have discovered that there is no time. All points in time can be accessed from a higher plane. So the red dots represent birth years. You and your twin flame are the two red dots where it says present day at the bottom there, right? And then there's another red dot for a future life that you maybe have lived or will live. It's not a future life, I should say. It's a future time. And then, of course, birth year 1770, birth year 1880. But you can hop all around in time, guys. You don't have to go into the future when you reincarnate. You can go into the past or the future. So the future time that you see on your screen could have been a life that you lived, because you experience time seemingly in the first person. From your first person perspective, you appear to experience linear time. Yes. And so a life that you lived already, that you did live, right, past tense, could have happened at a future date or a past date. Could be. So why doesn't the DM recognize the connection? Because they have less energy than you. So back to this diagram. They're not as conscious as you are, right? They're not as conscious as you are. You have lived many more lives since you used to be them. And here's a good question, Jewel. Did you have a spontaneous spiritual awakening in every life that you've ever lived? No, of course not. Of course you did not. You're having an awakening in this life. So it's just reincarnation. That's why they run, by the way. Yeah, you guys are the same soul. It's true. And no, they're not going to awaken. And no, suffering alone is not awakening. And no, they're going to be completely unaware consciously of the connection because you are the feminine twin. You have more consciousness. You've lived more lives. You have more energy. You are the awakened one. You're fully aware of the connection and everything that's going on. And you had the awakening experience, which was highly weird. By the way, the Kundalini, right? Heart chakra opening, legit becoming psychic. What the fuck? For real, becoming psychic. That doesn't just happen. That doesn't just happen, right? Now, your twin flame, so-called divine masculine, they will respond to whatever you're doing. Yes, they're not consciously aware of this. They just respond to it. You're the conscious twin. They're the unconscious twin. Yin, yang, conscious, unconscious, conscious, subconscious, right? But it's not really that there's just two of you, okay? There are many of you. There could be 20 of you walking around out in the world right now. There could be 20 of you walking around right now. You just haven't met them all. And how could you know that they were past or future versions of yourself? If reincarnation is a time machine, and it is, this is not controversial. Spiritual people have talked about that for a long, long time. Yeah, you can hop all around in time when you reincarnate. You absolutely can. That's nothing new under the sun. So that means there could be 20 of you walking around out here right now. Now, the only way that you would be able to tell is if you met somebody and they triggered another spontaneous awakening. And I don't think that's going to happen. Not very likely. So again, getting out of this starting point, Jewel, which is kind of where your questions are coming from. And most people do, because it's just me and my twin flame, and that's all. There could be 20 more of you. You just haven't met them, right? So getting out of this idea that there's two. So why aren't the other 20 people that are living in this day and age right now having an awakening? I don't know, because this is the one. This is the life where you're going to have that. This incarnation. Your higher self has got it all figured out, right? It's reincarnation, man. Not every single one of the incarnations that you have lived or even will live is going to have this experience. It doesn't have to be that way. Why does it have to be that way? You keep asking me, why don't they have that? Why don't they feel anything? Yada, yada. Why does it have to be that way? Why does it have to work that way? Right? You see what I'm saying? No, not everybody. Not everybody is going to have that. But yes, your twin flame, if they are your twin flame, when you're focusing on them, they run. When you go within and you experience yourself as the oneness of everything, they come back, they respond, and they just want to be around you. It's like they don't even know why. When they run, they just got to go. When they come back, they just got to come back, and they just want to, and they don't really have an explanation. I've taken this survey many, many times. You guys have seen me do this where I go, yeah, give me a 1 in the chat if your twin flame gave you a reason the first time they ran. And it was about 40% put a 1. And then I said, okay, put a 2 if they didn't give you any reason. They just left. And the other 60% put a 2. So they don't really have a reason. Or they just make up a reason, right? Or maybe they were married. I don't know. That's a seemingly legitimate reason, but that's not what's really going on. Because if there had to be a reason, then that would be true for all twin flames, right? So now I'm going to invoke the scientific method again, right? It would have to be true for everybody. But the fact is, they're not going to realize the connection. They're just going to respond to it. When they run, they just got to run, and they don't need a reason. It's the energy, guys. It's mechanics. It's this. It's this right here. The twin flame push pull. It's mechanics. That's why they run. It's physics. It's not psychology. It's nothing else. It's not because they need to awaken. It's this. It's energy. It's the second law of thermodynamics, right? Now, when they come back, the same is still true. They just want to be with you suddenly, and they don't know why. They just want to. So you do something, they respond to it. That's it. You're the conscious twin. They're the reactive twin. They just respond. That's all it is. You're welcome. I'm glad you found that helpful. That was a great question, man. That was a really, really good question that you started out with there. Who figured it out? I don't know. I wish I knew. It wasn't Elizabeth Clare Prophet. We already talked about that today. I'll tell you what. But somebody figured it out. Somebody figured it out. And whoever it was, I'm sure they were brilliant, man. I'm sure they were brilliant. Well, guys, it's been a little over 3 hours here. I certainly have had a good time with you once again today on Twin Flame Tuesday. I hope you enjoyed the pod class. I'll be back next Tuesday for another super awesome video. Elizabeth, thank you for the super chat. She says, do you have any information on what causes the journey to be longer or shorter for some people? Yeah, it's usually because you're making this a journey, actually. That's an easy question to answer. If you are trying to get somewhere with this, right? That's the mind. I got to get to an outcome with my twin flame, or I have to become spiritual. And you can't, or you can try, but it'll never work. It's the mind that looks at this like it's a journey to begin with. And to call it a journey is a good conversation starter, right? But once we get into that conversation, we're going to talk about how it's the pathless path. Somebody asked one of the masters, I don't remember who it was, Krishnamurti, Yogananda, Alan Watts, somebody. Yeah, and you used quotation marks. That's right. That's right. You did do that. You put the word journey in quotation marks. Because you get that part, right? You understand that part. But somebody once asked one of the masters, hey, Yogananda, whoever it was, you got to enlightenment. How did you do it? And he goes, well, when I got here, I realized that what took me so long is that I was trying to get here. And what he means is it's the mind. The mind is duality, past, future. I'm here. I need to get to the goal. I'm here. I need to get there. I need to become something. And you can never become something you already are. There's a documentary about Ram Dass. He wrote this book. And the documentary was called Becoming Nobody. Because what you're really doing is unbecoming the separate self, the ego mask, the self-concept, right? And the self-concept, the mind, it can become things. It can become happy, sad, educated. It can become those things. Here's Ram Dass. Om, right? Meditating. Om. He was a cool guy too, man. But yeah, it's just you. I mean, Elizabeth, you could already be there. Enlightenment where there's no suffering, but you're still like wanting an outcome or trying to figure out when your twin is coming back. And I don't know if you're a paid student, but There's a interview I did with 3 people. Gretel, she's married to her twin flame. SJ, she's with her twin flame. And then Chanel, same thing. They're all on my twin flame success stories playlist. I did interviews with all of them. And they, in the interview, we got right down to business. And I said, what's the one biggest piece of advice you would give to everybody? And they all said, stop making your twin flame the goal. Stop making it about them. Stop trying to get them to be with you. And by the way, that's not you. You're not your mind. You are not trying to get them to be with you. The mind is what wants an outcome. And so you just have to look at what is and say, well, that's what is. That's just, they don't want to be with me right now. And that's just the way it is. So it is. It's perfect. Exactly the way it is. That's what the soul would say. And I think that was the name of my last webinar, right? How the soul works. And I told people that the soul doesn't have any problem with what is, because it's just consciousness. So it could be that if you're still like wondering when they're going to come back, you can never ask. You can never ask. And I make that explicitly clear in the coaching program. You can never, ever ask. Oh, cool. So you did take my coaching. I just wanted to buy you a cup of coffee and ask a question that some people might be curious about. Oh, well, very good. And that was a good question. And thank you. I will buy a cup of coffee. Or some tacos. I might go have Mexican tonight. I'm debating it. I spend way too much money on that shit. I just love Mexican food. All right, everybody. I'm going to hit the road. You guys are the best. It's been a good live stream. I'll be back next Tuesday for another Twin Flame Tuesday. I hope you guys have a great week. So long. We're out. Peace out.
Dark